Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you with a little TNA video about TNA versus Global Force Wrestling. There's lots of rumors out there about TNA. Everyone's saying, different stories. There's no real official story about what is going down. Nothing's been posted on TMZ or the Wrestling Observer or anything else that is out there. But I did hear one, rumor. I believe it was on Sunday night, Monday morning. That this is actually going to be the last episode of TNA Impact that airs on Destination America. Where TNA goes from here, I'm not sure. They still have the shows, on the Road to Bound for Glory house show loop, where they have 3 shows, I believe, in Pennsylvania and West Virginia. They have the Bound for Glory show. They still have the Halloween set of house shows in October, and then they have the early January UK tour coming up. So there's still dates booked for TNA. Just as of right now, we don't really know if there's going to be television. The rumors could be fake, and TNA is going to go on and they're going to go strong. But as of right now, the show as it's built up for tomorrow is going to be Lethal Lockdown, which is for control of TNA. TNA's Invasion storyline, which is the TNA wrestling group going up against none other than Global Force Wrestling, which is led by Jeff Jarrett. The Outsiders, who, because of the attack on Bully Ray, Jeff Jarrett was put in charge as sort of like the decision maker, the GM, and from there, one thing led to another, where Global Force kept on, they won the tag team championships, they held the Global Force championship, and one thing leads to another. But honestly, when it comes down to it, and you think about everything that has been said about the WWE invasion with WCW back in the day, it's not kind. People always bring up the fact that there was no Goldberg, there was no NWO, there was no Ric Flair. You had the Dudley Boys, who were already in WWE, and they switched over to join, the what was it called? The Alliance. That's what they were called. They jumped and they became, Team WCW, ECW with Shane and Stephanie on top. Booker T came in. The team overall just wasn't that great, and it's looked at as one of the worst invasion storylines of all time. By the end of it, you had guys like Christian, you had guys Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, definitely WWE guys who just basically turned heel to give WCW a little bit of help, name-wise, to actually stand up and fight the fight. Now, Global Force Wrestling, I remember when they made their, announcement of their roster, when they were trying to book days, when they were trying to get all these, baseball house shows, around the country. I remember when they read off their roster, just looking at it like, if this is the best they can do, this is pretty weak. I mean, if you look at the television tapings that they've done, from Las Vegas, Global Force gets a really strong roster of guys coming in there. They've got guys from TNA, they've got guys from Japan, guys from Mexico. They really spare no expense bringing people in to try and get this TV contract. But when it comes down to these house shows, if you read the reports like I do, or you watch other YouTubers' videos about going to the shows, it's pretty freaking weak. I remember at one point wondering if I should go to the Reno show that was held, close to here. It was only, honestly, I can get to Reno in probably 2 hours at the most. And then I'm thinking 2 hours there, 2 hours back. Really, I'm really pumped about meeting Jeff Jarrett for the first time. And I'm pumped about meeting the Bullet Club with Guns and Gallows. 2 of my favorite guys in the world right now because of Talking Shop. And the rest of the card was honestly trash. Lots of guys I'd never heard of, and it just wasn't worth the trip. But then, TNA gets this chance to go on Destination America, trying to help. Oh, I apologize, I screwed that up. Global Force gets a chance to go on Destination America, trying to help out TNA, get some ratings, trying to get a story buzzing, so that it basically helps them, trying to get a television deal as well. And the roster that they show up, you got Chris Masters, you got Kurt Hawkins, Sanjay Dutt, You've got, Jeff Jarrett. This isn't gonna get it done. I mean, if you haven't heard anything about TNA, the Wrestling Observer basically is to the point now where on the radio shows they don't even talk about it, they don't even review about it. If you're wondering what's going on in there, it's because really nothing's going on over there. Lethal Lockdown is going to be there. They've already done Lockdown as a normal television show just a few months ago, I think is when they did it. So that's another reason why this isn't really being hyped up as being a big one. But all the chips are going to be on the line. You've got Drew Gallows. No, not Drew Gallows. Drew Galloway, I apologize. And the Wolves, Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards, as long as Bobby Lashley. A pretty stacked team for TNA, going up against a team of Kurt Hawkins, Chris Masters, Sanjay Dutt, and Jeff Jarrett. Honestly, it's one of the weakest War Games style of matches, probably since like the Dungeon of Doom being involved in War Games way back in the 95. I remember watching the War Games match, and it was pretty bad. There's also the other one where it has Fred Ottman in there. He was supposed to be the Shockmaster, and it didn't really work out. He fell through the wall and collapsed. But I'm not looking for the best here. Honestly, you got to go with TNA. They obviously got to win this deal. Whenever I think about Lethal Lockdown, I think of Brian and Vinny. The Brian and Vinny show with Vinny's explosion about War Games, about how TNA fucks this up every year, where basically you have the heels, they win the coin flip, they go in there, they kick some ass, then the odds are evened out, the baby faces get the win, and then the heel comes in to make it uneven again, they start kicking ass, and all of a sudden at the end, the baby faces, they pull it off and they get the win. That's basically all War Games is. It's all it's ever been, and somehow TNA always finds a way to mess it up, but this looks like a really weak Lethal Lockdown. You got to go with TNA to win this. I guess Global Force goes away after this. I don't think this helped them at all one bit. Too weak of a roster, too weak of a storyline, too weak of a company that's trying to help support them. They weren't even really able to help TNA. No one's talking about this. When Jeff Jarrett, made the surprise return to TNA, he came in at Slammiversary. He wrestled in the King of the Mountain match, which he ended up winning. I think everyone saw him winning. He went into the Hall of Fame. And I think this was a hot story for maybe 24 hours at the most. And it just died out. Maybe that's because TNA tapes their shows too far in advance now. And people can't stay away from the spoilers, and they know what's going to happen. But I don't know. It's going to happen tomorrow night. Destination America, Lethal Lockdown, September 16th. Global Force versus TNA. Winner takes all.